Hey guys, LevelCap here, and today we're going to be talking about the latest patch in Battlefield 4. This is probably one of the biggest updates to the game thus far, and it's made some of the best improvements in my opinion since the launch of Battlefield 4. It's been long awaited and much needed. Now, aside from stability improvements and performance improvements, there has been a lot of tweaking going on. They haven't really specifically mentioned what has been done to the netcode, but I can say that it feels a little bit smoother. Things feel a little bit more responsive, which is a good step in the right direction. Certainly we're not there yet with Battlefield 4. I'm very grateful for the devs for making this patch and making these big steps in the right direction, but I'm still experiencing a lot of things that end up being quite aggravating and quite buggy, such as the one-hit kill phenomenon. The one that's been in the game since launch. I think this is sort of a multi-part bug, but I'm still experiencing instances where I'll run into a guy that has an automatic weapon. I won't see him shoot the gun, I won't hear the bullet sounds of the gun or hear the firing sounds of the weapon, and I will go from 100% health to 0% health. I'll watch it back in footage and there's no evidence of him firing at all, and I will just die instantly. This happens a lot, and it's still unfortunate that this is in the game. Hopefully this is on the list of next fixes coming in the next patch. Here's an example of this bug. Even if overall the netcode itself seems to be representing the gameplay somewhat accurately, whatever I see on the client side is very confusing and aggravating. Like many people, I have no problem losing a gun battle that I lose fair and square. I would just like my computer screen to actually represent what's happening. If somebody starts shooting before I start shooting, they have the drop on me, they're anticipating my movements, and they take me out, then that's fine. I just want to see it. I don't want to die instantly with no gun sound or warning at all. And with that said, I would just like to reiterate that this patch is a big step in the right direction, and one of those big steps is the DMR Damage upgrade. Basically all DMRs have had their damage models increased. Specifically, every single DMR except for the SKS and Type 88 has had their maximum damage increased to 45 and their minimum damage increased to 38. This means that you're never going to have to four-shot anybody with a DMR ever again. No matter what range you engage them at, you're going to kill them in at least 3 shots. In fact, body shots at all ranges are going to take 3 shots with every single DMR. So just be careful of that. Remind yourself when you're in close quarters, if somebody comes running around the corner and you can't pull off any headshots, it's going to take you 3 shots. If you can pull off a headshot, it's still going to be at least 2 shots. A headshot with a DMR will do 90 damage, so you're not going to get any one-shot kills. And you'll notice in some of those clips there that I was getting some HVT bonuses for killing people. Now commanders can mark anybody who's got 1 kill as a high value target. This is unfortunately very aggravating. There's a lot of instances where I was getting marked as HVT, and I was trying to flank around in the forest, flank around the back of the map, sneak up behind people, and the commanders were just like, hey, here's a guy in the forest, and I was trying to figure out why like everybody on their team was just running at me all of a sudden when I was especially being very stealthy, and then I started getting the HVT bonuses, and I'm like, oh, so much for that covert operation. I'm pretty much a dead man. So just beware of that. When you start getting those HVT bonuses, you've been marked as an HVT, and all it takes is you killing 1 person to become eligible. Coming back to the DMR upgrade, they've also become more accurate, so we can now fire secondary shots, follow-up shots, and hit our targets much easier. This makes the DMRs perform like the way we all kind of wanted them to perform, and they're actually fun to use now. I'm not going to say that they're good because frankly, I can't see it. They're not that great of weapons. They're fun to use in medium to longish range engagements, but I will still say that most assault rifles out there can kind of outdamage these, and they're a lot easier weapons to use than DMRs. So it's just one of those weapons that if you sort of want to role play, you want to play a certain style, it's fun to use, but I still don't think that they're quite good enough to be considered competitive level weapons. And we'll actually be covering that a lot more in tomorrow's video, where I'm going to extensively cover the Ace 53. Other big changes in this patch include a very much decreased black screen time when you spawn in. This is actually a huge change. Now when you spawn on your squad mates, it's hopefully not going to be into the respawn screen as you realize you just spawned into a wave of fire. You should be able to see what's going on around you before your invulnerability timer runs up, and this is going to make it much similar to Battlefield 3 in a lot of ways, not identical, but this is essentially going to give you reason to spawn on your squad mates again. This is something that I pretty much avoided doing since Battlefield 4 came out. Spawning on your squad mates was almost always a death sentence unless you were talking to them with voiceover and you asked them, are you a safe spawn? Should I spawn on you? Otherwise, I pretty much never did it. Now you can do that again because you have a greater chance of surviving. A welcome addition to the game is the inclusion of a headshot indicator. When you have been killed, it will tell you if you were killed by a headshot or not. The only problem with this is that I found a few wonky little bugs, like once I got out of a helicopter, it ran me over and it said the helicopter headshotted me. So there are a few little tweaks, but overall it's nice to see that that's in the game. There have been a number of other user interface updates. One of them has been triangle. So the little red Doritos that you see on your enemies when they're spotted now shrink in size the further away your enemy is. This is great because it lets you know just how far away your enemy is, especially when you're not in line of sight of them. So if you ever remember coming around a corner expecting to surprise somebody and find out that they're like 400 meters away, this shouldn't happen anymore. The only unfortunate side of this is that it wasn't also applied to friendly markers. The little blue triangles that you see over your friendlies' heads don't seem to shrink with distance, and this is kind of annoying because I find that most of the times when I mistake an enemy for a friendly, it's because a friendly is super far behind that enemy and his triangle is just popping up over him. So it would be nice to see friendly Doritos also shrinking. You'll notice in these clips here that there's a giant bar of orange text that seems to appear in the middle of the screen whenever admin chat or admin notifications are activated. This, I guess in practice, might have seemed like a good idea, but it's already become spammed and extremely annoying. I was playing in a server the other day where every single minute it popped up the URL of the website of the server, and it was just kind of like, stop spamming me with all your server bullshit. This is something that I recommend all server admins to try and not abuse, because if this doesn't get taken out of the game, I'm sure a lot of players are going to stop playing on servers that just spam your screen with all these adverts and annoying messages. Now, there have been a few bugs added to the game from this last patch, and here's some things to watch out for. Getting in the tank gunner seat on some maps, specific maps like Zavad 311, I believe will crash the game for you. It crashes the game for me. Other things like joining a team deathmatch game will often have no sound for me. This is kind of weird, and to fix it, I found if you just play out that round or wait for the round to be over, the next round will actually have sound in it. So as annoying as that is, just wait for the round to be over and it will be okay. I'm sure the devs will have this upgraded and fixed in the next patch. The gameplay here is me testing out the Rex. I thought that perhaps the pistol changes might have been implemented in this patch, although the patch notes don't seem to indicate that. And from my gameplay experience, there's still considerable delay on the trigger to firing the gun. So hopefully that will get updated in a future patch too. I'm actually really excited for that because if the Rex and Magnum become useful again, I'm going to have a lot of fun using those pistols. Overall, this patch brings a considerable amount of polish, but there's still quite a bit of work to be done. I want to be positive about this, but I also don't want to say, hey, I'm happy with the state of the game, let's just stop here. I'm looking forward to the future patches. I think this game is going to get better and better in the coming months, and I'm looking forward to it. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap, signing off.